A very pleasant good morning. It is time for Money Info, brought to you by Princeton Research with Michael King in Las Vegas and the one and only Charles Moskowitz in lovely Beantown. And guys, a very pleasant good morning to you.
Good morning.
How are you, Mike?
Good. And I see that our trading partners anteed up and bought some bonds in July. In May and June, they had sold a large quantity of bonds. They sold like $67 billion in May, and then again the same amount in June. So that was like $135 billion. They bought $31 billion in July, picking up a little bit. Of course, these statistics are always a little bit late, but we need help in funding our debt. And China, of course, is the biggest debtor of any country with $1,277 billion of our bonds.
Wow. Okay.
And a second, Japan has $1,135 billion. This is as of July. So you can see they came back and bought a little bit back, 25% of what they sold.
Wow. Okay. Well, we got to do that. Somehow, some way, we've got to take care of this debt. I mean, we've got to.
Well, it's easy. It's easy. The Treasury will just issue more bonds.
Yeah. And nobody's worried.
Where is the government going to get additional money to manage the debt?
Yeah.
They're going to issue more bonds.
Well, meanwhile, the Labor Department is reporting that our consumer prices went up 0.1% in August. Now, prices were up by the same margins, excluding, I love this, they always exclude food and gas, which... yeah,
because nobody eats or drives.
That's right. Yeah, Charles, that is a brilliant statement. That's right. Yeah, well, that's when they outlaw cars in the United States. You're probably going to be correct. Yeah, that's probably it. And speaking of gas, USA Today, I guess, it's a big story on CBS this morning that we've gone 1,000 days paying $3 or more a gallon, and it will never, according to USA Today, go back to $2 a gallon for gas. God, I'm old enough to remember 25 cents a gallon.
Oh, I'm older than that. I remember filling up the car with $5 worth at 19.9.
Do you really? Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Huh, okay. Well, I think I'm a little older than you, but, maybe
you just lived in the wrong place at the time. Were you out in California then?
Yeah, that's...
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, actually, that's very true. That's very true. Well, how about Microsoft, guys? Quarterly dividend up by 5 cents, or 22% to 28 cents, and
they love it in the stock.
Yeah, and
they don't love it as much as they did when it was announced, but they love it in the stock. The stock was up over $1, now up about 60 cents or so. But, that's a step in the right direction.
Yep, and they approved a $40 billion buyback share. Not too shabby. But, and just in a little bit, I mean, we are going to have a friend of Charles's on the air, a Floridian by the name of Ghazi Haj. He is the CEO of a company called GRILLiT. So we're going to hear a little bit about what sounds like natural foods and, no fried stuff. And, yeah, it sounds kind of interesting.
By the way, the Microsoft is now up only 18 cents.
Uh-oh. There you go.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. I mean, there's always that in the back of your mind that it's a mature company paying a dividend.
Yeah.
And that clearly the days of explosive growth are behind it. what most people don't understand, it's kind of the same thing with Apple because they have a chunk of money too, is that, these companies, they talk about, they talk about Netflix as, a content deliverer, and they talk about BlackBerry as, useless. But the fact of the matter is, any of these companies could disappear. Not the Apple and Microsoft, but Microsoft and Apple could clearly buy with minor money. I mean, they're talking about the BlackBerry, which is up a little,
right?
Today, up about 40 cents, 35 cents, and we actually are long the calls there. But they talk about the value of BlackBerry in breaking it up, and just the secure messaging system, they say, is worth about $3 billion. And that's a pretty fantastic worldwide network of secure server farms.
Yeah, it is.
Located everywhere.
Yeah.
And you think about that, and you put let's go at the top of the range, $3 billion. It's a sneeze for either of these two companies. And frankly, the fact of the matter is, both of these companies, Microsoft and Apple, have massive amounts of money outside the U.S. We think of BlackBerry as, right here around the corner. It's outside the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And so they could, not bring back some of their money. They could actually spend it for an acquisition. I mean, it's, people relate to outside the U.S. as overseas. It's just as far overseas when you cross the border at Niagara Falls as if you got on a plane and flew to Ireland.
Sure.
So, some of these companies can still pretty well outperform, companies that they're lumped into the same category with as, big companies that, lack innovation and can't have explosive growth.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's a tail to every heads on the coin.
There you go. Yeah. Got that right.
In the meantime, the Apple is up about $5.50 after having a horrendous couple of days.
Yeah.
We actually sold a quarter of our position in Apple through the letter, but it got executed on Monday morning at 5.05 1/4, and we've now been 446, now 455 and change. So, these, people tend to not separate a great company from a great stock. And frankly, the stock is just not performing. So, but the company is great.
Sure. Yeah. Well, and you look at Microsoft, which had been really absolutely amazing when you think of marketing and stuff like that. Their new tablet is really amazing. I mean, it really is amazing. But I've got a couple real good friends here that are both Microsoft certified, and and they can sell their equipment as well, but they can't get their hands on this tablet because Staples got an exclusive on it, and it's tough because then they say that that tablet has not performed very well sales wise. Well, if you've only got it in one outlet,
well, actually, Greg. They do have it one other place. I went on the duck boat tour last weekend with my son and wife, which is, I don't know if they have it other places, but here in Boston, it's an hour-and-a-half ride in what is essentially an amphibious vehicle. And they drive you around and they show you the sights in Boston, and then they go into the Charles River.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that the one that's in the Charles River?
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
But it leaves from in front of it leaves from 3 or 4 places, but the one that I took leaves from the Prudential Center. And as I was parking the car and walking around the Prudential Center. Microsoft actually has freestanding stores.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Wow.
But they have the stores, and what you're saying about the Surface tablet is absolutely true. I mean, there were people lined up 3 deep just to get at the, samples that they have on the tables, the same way they do in Apple, just to be able to play with them.
Wow.
And, of course, they have that snap-on keyboard.
Yeah.
So that if you, which is one of the major issues. I mean, I love Apple products, but I haven't bought an iPad yet because it's kind of a pain in the neck to use that innovative touch screen if you really want to do any, quote, work.
Yeah.
If you're not playing a video game, if you're not using it as a reader, And so it's a very interesting piece of retail product that is really very well priced under the iPads.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's $200 less. You bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it does a lot more. Like for our
dramatically more. You
yeah.
can get.
No, it's great.
You can get Microsoft Office on it.
Yes. Yeah, Mike, are you into the whole tablet scene now, or are you still toting a laptop?
Yeah, no, it's great. We have all the products.
No,
Apple is just suffering from a lack of innovation, leadership. The products they have now were developed several years ago, and they have like an accountant running the company. They don't have an innovator. And
Isn't it amazing from the retailing point of view how everybody and their brother wanted a watch, and all of a sudden there's no talk about it at all anymore?
Yeah, isn't that
Qualcomm
interesting?
came out with their idea, Samsung has
isn't that
theirs,
stupid? I mean,
and all of a sudden, it's gone.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
It's the combination of I don't remember which of the comic book companies owned it, but it's Dick Tracy.
Well, and just like Mike says, it's so ill-conceived. Can you imagine the keyboard on that puppy?
Well, the problem is that it only really operates in the presence of something that it can attach to Bluetooth-wise. So if you're not carrying your phone, you really can't get a lot of use out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it can't tell you have email if it doesn't have a Bluetooth item to, bond with.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true.
I mean, it's not like you can, it's not like you can take a walk in the morning. Like when Mike walks the dogs in the morning, wouldn't do him any good unless he was carrying his phone with him.
And then
in the meantime, just like nobody could figure out what it was that was such a big deal to have a picture in a phone, a camera in a phone.
Right. Oh, God.
And now, as we've discussed before, the new Lumia is not even a phone with a camera. It's a great camera with a phone.
Yeah, it just so happens. Oh, yeah,
so,
it does make calls.
Yeah, exactly. And, they'll figure out a way to get that watch, into the public. They'll create the demand for it, but, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I still like that concept of that Surface, though. I agree with you. I've got an Acer, early Acer that I regret getting now because, just simply because, it just has the touch screen and I'm old school enough where I kind of like the concept of a real keyboard, but yeah, interesting stuff. I wish our dear friend from dear old Tampa Bay was on the line with us because Andrew Luck is making news. I don't know whether you guys heard this or not, but is this a Stanford athlete or what? Here's a guy that is buying an equity share in Under Armour. So, and he's promoting this new Under Armour drink. They call it Body Armor Super Drink. And so anyway, but he's buying equity share of the company. I think that's great. You know, he says, yeah, there are risks to this, but why not? You know, there's a Stanford grad for you there, Charles.
Yeah, really. Hey, Mike, I just got an email from one of our subscribers asking if there's any new information available on SKVI Skin Visible.
Oh, yeah. We haven't had them on in a long time.
No, we haven't. And I've always thought it was a very interesting company because of the the availability of the option to extend a patent based on the way that something is applied, the chemical signature of something that's either an aerosol or a topical or something that so. If there's any news on that, maybe we can discuss that towards the end of the show, or certainly on my conference call tomorrow.
Yep, and tell us about how do we hop on the conference?
Well, the conference call is easy. It's let's see, 712-432-0075. It starts at 10 a.m. sharp. And the PIN number is 614426. And there is a replay on it. The PIN or the number? The number is 712-432-0075. And the PIN is 614426.
Pound.
Well, right.
Very good.
That sounds great. So, Mike, what's going on in your world, especially looking out to the Pacific side?
Oh, yes, I'm getting ready to go back to the Philippines on the 21st, returning the 28th. I'll be gone for 1 week.
Wow.
Working on continuing to acquire coconut products, coconut oil, coconut powders that make sugars that are healthy, considered much healthier. And we're assembling details on all of that. And we're going to have a lot of products available.
Really?
I gotta say that one of the things that I like the best as a healthy dessert that I buy in Trader Joe's all the time are the coconut-based, not popsicles, but fruit bars. They're excellent.
Wow.
Haji.
Huh.
Ghazi Haj, yes.
Yes. Hi. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Okay. So we now have the CEO of GRILLiT on the show now. Maybe you can give us a little bit of a thumbnail about
tell us about your company.
Does and what the outlook.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Of course, my name is Ghazi Haj. I'm the CEO of GRILLiT Concept. Basically, GRILLiT is a concept that sits in the fast casual arena, and we are a Latin Caribbean fusion base and specialized into made-to-order salad, rice bowl, pasta, wraps, all stuffed with steaks and chicken. And our customer will select from a 20 toppings to really make customize their meals. We have very specific, taste profile, and of course our signature sauces are awesome, and that's topped with their customized meal. And all our marination is citrus-based marination, and all MSG-free as well as gluten-free. For people into the health arena, those are very specific they'll be looking for. So this is basically the outlook of the overall picture of the concept. And of course, with the popularity of the grilled protein, we feature an open kitchen, and the grill is our center piece of our concept. So that's where the whole thing started. It's again, it's a Latin Caribbean fusion concept, and it's very simple. Anybody wants to eat healthier and looking for innovation, high quality meal, we're the place to offer it for them.
Ghazi, you just hit it on the head, though, when you had mentioned both MSG and gluten-free.
Yes.
That is phenomenal. That's really phenomenal.
Yeah, it's amazing the growth. Like I shop at Whole Foods here, and they used to have a couple of gluten-free breads and a couple of cookies, and the growth in that, which everybody initially thought was kind of faddish, has really taken off to the extent that there's a whole aisle now.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how the people are really looking for a healthier nutritional meal, and this is, of course, the MSG is at the top of the list. We're very sensitive to when we design, when we work with our executive chefs and our team. We're very sensitive to how we prepare our food. Basically, everything we do is fresh. All our produce are domestically grown. We use black Angus. Our chicken is never frozen. So we built up to the health segment and making sure our customer getting the best ingredients available out there. And we're priced right. We're priced right into where the fast casual lunch are. So we really hit it on the head. Basically, we're very affordable for lunch, and as well as very healthy in the same arena, which is very, very few concepts could accomplish both. And
And Ghazi, who is your target demographic? I mean, I know that you're just getting ready to open across from the University of Miami down in Coral Gables, and I can't imagine that doesn't hit your demographic right on the head with a $50,000 a year school. Certainly, students have the ability to cross US 1 and eat quickly and healthily. But where else are the other locations, and how are they?
Our first location is I don't know, for the folks who live in Miami, it's a Blue Lagoon area near Miami Airport. Our second location just opened, Pembroke Pines, and as you just said, our third location, which we will be closing on this week, is across the street from University of Miami. Our demographic is across the board, from high school kids, which is right now into sports, protein, healthy type situation, is as high as almost in the 60 and 70. Anybody who want to eat healthy is our customer. Before, most of the chains, they say, our demographic 18 to 54, but we expand that range because right now is everybody's healthy, everybody's running, everybody's doing, going to the gym. So basically, we broaden our customer base to anybody who want to eat healthy, from as young as basically children all the way to 70 years old plus.
And you don't even have to have an early bird special with your pricing.
Living in Florida, no, thank you.
Oh, you're so bad, Charles.
Well, no, I mean, I always found Florida to be a very interesting place vis-a-vis new operations in food, because, it's not like New York where a specific style of food like this is, a fusion type style of food where, in the middle of the winter, nobody's interested in it.
Well, I'm fascinated with this, where, like Ghazi had just mentioned, this could be training table food, if you will, and that's what we used to call the San Diego Chargers, and where it's just all natural food and natural protein. rather than all the artificial stuff. I was on the website, and very informative. You're obviously looking to expand. Where are you looking? I mean, are you going to do like what Mr. Kroc did at McDonald's and try and have a lot of corporate stores, or are you going to do some franchising, or maybe mix and match?
Well, let me just take a step back a little bit, and let me give you, for the folks who's listening, a little bit of a background, my background. Just kind of take a couple of seconds. And
oh, sure. You got plenty of time.
Stuff. So that way, give you an idea where our head's at and what the concept's going for. I in my early days, I don't want to say in the 70s. I'll give my age up. I worked with Little Caesar while I was going to University of Michigan. Basically, I started with Little Caesar when they had only 29 restaurants. I moved through the rank while I was going to college, and I reached to Vice President of the National Operation, which I had operated all Little Caesar corporate-owned stores for well over 1,000 restaurants. Besides that, I really owned and operated my own restaurant in the Cleveland area and Florida, which is about 35 restaurants. Besides, my brother operated other parts of the Northeast. Right after Caesar, I went to Quiznos. I was the vice president of the Southeast region, which I handled all the franchise operation for well over 1,000 restaurants for over 9 years.
Okay.
And beside that, I worked for a couple of small companies, creative companies, Salad Creation in South Florida, Salad Creation, Chicken Kitchen. I was part of the management team who operated in the early days, in the early 2000s, over 50 outlets in Miami Airport. So I'll give you a little bit, just an overview of my background. So with all that in mind, when we designed the concept, prior to even signing the lease, we spent a year on a lot of money, and a lot of companies came into the table to help us design the concept before even signing our first lease. Took us, I would say, over a year working with creative thinkers, company and finally we had awarded our, contract to Thinking in a Box, a company out of Vancouver, which has offices in Tokyo, New York, Chicago, Toronto, and many other places. And they helped us design the concept, and we worked very, very closely with a bunch of executive chefs to really design the menu. And we have the basic menu, but as you take it from R&D to masses, there's really a huge difference. So we spent a lot of money, time, and effort going through that process, and then finally, after a year, we signed the first lease, which is open in 2011, and we moved forward. So that's really what had set up the pace to where we at. Our concept again is a straightforward concept, is open kitchen, and we're set to grow. We're really set to grow because we fit in an arena, basically very unique. Of course, as you well aware, Chipotle, Panera Bread, Payway, and everybody, and Moe's are very specific. Chipotle in a Mexican grill,
right?
Moe's in Southern Western, and we are in very unique Caribbean Latin, very little player in that arena where can design a menu and give really the product and the natural product and to the consumer across the United States.
Ghazi, we have a feature on WPSL and our sister stations that is produced by Southeast AgNet, and I would think you would be a natural partner for the Florida Citrus Commission. I mean, if you're using citrus in your products, that's something they need to know. Because, you never know. They may be able to help push out some of this product.
That'll be an awesome suggestion, but I will have to be very careful. We don't use any sugar, so I got the sugar cane factories on the other side of the state. They're out. They won't be our friends either.
You don't even want to mention Big Sugar now in South Florida with everything that's going on, environmentally with those guys. But we got a call from, I am presuming a stockholder, who said that you announced some losses, I guess, in July, and wants to know when you would be profitable.
Well, basically, definitely, we're a public company, and as you saw on most of our public relation, public releases, we're working with auditor, and our audit financial statement will be ready to be released sometimes in the fourth quarter. So so please hang on and wait till that audit statement comes out, and hopefully we'll be back on this show, and I'll be more than happy to answer your question. It'll be more detailed.
Well, that sounds great. Getting back to the franchises, I mean, are you looking at possibly turning this into a franchise opportunity for listeners who may be listening anywhere around the world to either WPSL or WPSLTV.com?
Okay. Great. Well, we really, our initial strategy is to be 30-70, 30% corporate stores and 70% franchise.
Okay.
As we sit today, we have our first location open in Nashville, which is 4 weeks ago, and is doing very, very well. Actually, last week, our first marketing plan initiative started, and they're doing very well. The second location we have under construction, and will be ready to open in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. And that's scheduled to open, I believe, sometime in the middle of October. Our target date is October 7th, but with, of course, as usual, with inspection and regulation, I think it's pushed to middle of October. We're in a final stage of finalizing a lease for downtown Louisville in the Humana building.
Whoa!
So definitely we are. Again, we have about people flying in. Actually, I had a group from Cuyahoga County in Cleveland, group from New Jersey, group from New York, flew in town to really check out the concept. They fell in love with it. At the end of the day, they end up buying stocks. Besides being a franchisee, they are a stockholder of the company because they love the food, they love what they saw, they love the activities going on, and they end up being our partners.
Well, see, I would think that this could absolutely explode in real cosmopolitan areas. I mean, it just, you're onto something here. And, you're hitting at the right time. Charles mentioned, Whole Foods. We're going to be getting one up in this area as well. I think the closest one to us is Palm Beaches right now. Well, that's you're hitting at the right time, because I think we're all, no matter what our ages are becoming more health conscious.
It's true, and again, we're very sensitive to when we prepare our salads. As you are aware, we're a very young company with basically we'll have by the end of this year 5 stores or close to 5 stores, and we spend a lot of money in not just developing the concept, in a lot of effort and energy working with executive chefs to make sure we're structured very, very strong for the future. And our basis is the health, which is, you hit it on the head. We're not gonna be the organic concept of the world, don't get me wrong, but we are going to be in a health segment where very, very few players are playing right now.
Well, that sounds great. Well, stock-wise, Charles, you want to get with him on that?
Well,
shares
I
outstanding
just wanted
and stuff?
to mention the other thing.
What's the symbol?
And that, GRLT. GRILLiT.
And what's their phone number?
Ghazi?
I'm sorry?
What's
Your phone number for the company?
Okay, I'll give you my cell number. So anybody interested, they can call my cell number. 561-289-3658. And the reason for this, I'm giving you my cell number. I want to make sure that every person who called, I'm more than happy to answer his call and direct him to the right individuals.
Okay,
so this is how really down to earth and down to the ground we are. So we're very, very we're willing to work with every shareholder. As I said before, most of our shareholders come to our restaurant, eat our food, and they love what we do, what they do, and this is basically the core of our startup, stockholders.
Ghazi, what's a stock symbol?
GRLT.
GRLT, and it is OTC?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Currently 112 bid, offered at 115. So we're not in one of those situations where you're paying a big spread because it's a new company or something. This is much more of a normal spread, and frankly, the volume, while not explosive, is consistent, and so there's liquidity in the stock.
And
the other thing I wanted to mention was,
Charles.
I've seen a lot of concept companies kind of come and go in the food area, and one of them that has been around for a really long time up here is something called Fire and Ice, and it's sort of the same content, but not exactly. And it's one of these places. There's one in downtown Boston, right near the Public Gardens, which is, a fair-sized tourist area, and there's one in Harvard Square, which is right next to
colleges,
the school.
Yes.
And they have a couple of different proteins and a bunch of different vegetables and a bunch of different sauces and stuff, and it's the same kind of thing. It's an open kitchen, and it really took off here. And the fact is, I know that there are others, outside the local area, but this is a concept that continues to grow. I mean, I know, for example, they're not in Florida. But the fact of the matter is, I always looked at it as a much more local market company. And I think that with GRILLiT, I think it translates really well across, as Ghazi was saying, across a vast demographic that encompasses fast food, healthy food, inexpensive. It's certainly the kind of thing where, a parent would not be concerned about a child in junior high or high school, having lunch there, that they'd be, eating junk.
Sure.
So
Ghazi, your store in Nashville, is it in a tourist area?
It's really downtown Nashville, next to a residential high-rise. And basically, it's not in a tourist area. There's a couple of hotels around it.
Okay.
But it's catered for all the businesses within 3 blocks. There are well over 10,000 workers within 3 blocks radius.
Wow.
And that's one of the reasons we selected the site.
I'll bet.
It's doing very well right now. So, of course, we've just been open, and our marketing, as I mentioned earlier, is just going to hit this week. And we're looking for a great result with that location.
Now, you've got, some target areas like your Pennsylvania's, possibly New Hampshire. You've already talked about Cleveland, Ohio, and Kentucky. The Kentucky one, is that near the Louisville campus? You said downtown Louisville.
I'm sorry. The downtown location will be close, but Elizabethtown is 45 minutes outside.
Yeah.
Outside. I was going to say outside Louisville.
Yeah.
So it's definitely as a spot where have a bunch of hotels, and basically, we're waiting for a store to open, and basically that's what it is. Other location we're looking at is New Jersey, of course, beside Cleveland. We have a lot of lookers, so we might have some setbacks with the recent fire we had as an area over there. A couple of franchisees flew in and looked at, so unfortunately that might take the back seat. But there's we have actually people are coming in next week from Atlanta. They're interested in downtown Atlanta.
I'll bet.
And we have a team flying in, or a couple of guys flying in from Texas. So we have a lot of activities on on the franchise activity right now.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I think it's it's phenomenal, Greg, for areas, urban areas. I mean, it's great down in Florida because of the diversity of the population. But, in downtown areas, just the numbers game of it.
Oh,
with
sure.
People who, have to run out and eat in 30 or 40 minutes and want something that, while it's fast, it's still healthy. I mean, they're not going for chicken McNuggets.
Right.
And so, the high volume, because of the population density in some of these areas, really tells the story for this company going forward.
Yeah, and just before I comment on that a little bit too, beside the service time and accuracy, I want to go back for the folks who would like to have, just want to make sure that they have our website. It's www.GRILLitinc.com. And for the folks that want to call my cell, they can call our corporate office, which the number is, if you're ready, it's 305-716-4195. Again, the number for our corporate office, 305-716-4195. I want to circle back with Charles' question. When we designed the concept, I said earlier, we had in mind consistency and service time. Traditionally, our research shows that the customer coming in for lunch, they have 28 minutes or less. So when we design it to service every customer from the time he or she order, the time they pay, is 2 minutes and 30 seconds, under 2 minutes.
Wow.
These are our focus. We sit in the lobby, we time everybody to make sure our lunch customer have plenty of time to sit down and enjoy a great meal. Besides the consistency, we had designed 6 products. Our marination, our rice mixes, our rubs are basically manufactured for GRILLiT, and that's how we control the consistency of our product. Third is accuracy. We make our platters, our meals in front of the customers. If you want jalapeno pepper, want cheese, want tomatoes, whatever he wants or he or she wants, it's right there. So our accuracy is out of the park. It's 100%, which is a lot of fast casual concept or QSR struggling with that. So with that in mind, I mean, that's basically cover the basics of the folks coming in for lunch, and they have very limited time to eat and leave. Or
now, do you pack stuff to go too, Ghazi?
I'm sorry?
Do you pack stuff to go also?
Yes. And our Air Park location, we deliver, and we have a great catering program. And we cater for party of 15 people. As high, actually, the recent one, we had 200 people. We cater, rice, chicken, salads, and steaks, all that stuff. It's, we cater. We were joined with actually a great organization in Pembroke Pines, Homes for Veterans.
Oh, yeah.
And we fed over 200 Lowe's employees, lunch. These are basically for any veterans coming in from overseas. It's a startup home for 6 months. And where basically they give them housing, cars, schools, and get them started to get accumulated back in the state. And we work closely with the organization, with the founders, as well as the people who fix all the apartments and the housing to make sure they have the proper meals when they arrive and throughout their stay of 6 months. So that's on the nonprofit side organization. Some Pembroke Pine actually just started about 2 months ago. We're one of the few food concepts lend a hand to that organization.
That's unbelievable. So it's you guys, Lowe's, and who are some of your partners in that? I think that's phenomenal.
That's it. Nobody else.
Nobody else.
Lowe's,
wow.
Nobody. Lowe's are offering their personnel and of course their supplies, paint, drywall, whatever need tiles, and we offer the meals.
That's amazing.
In Florida, what's really amazing is that you can go from, site to site to site. Not being too much of a smartass, I don't want to say that you can do it in in a food truck. But the fact of the matter is, you can feed large groups of people again, it's a density issue. You get 100 workers working on a project, and you can get them a decent lunch and, with a reasonable cost delivered to their site.
Yep. And
yeah, exactly. It's still warm, healthy, still eating a phenomenal product.
We'll have to see if you can.
And you cut down on the guys who take 45 minutes or an hour to smoke a cigarette and BS with their buddies, and all of a sudden you're more productive too.
Now, see, the question I have: can you FedEx it up to Port St. Lucie? But that's a whole different story.
Well, you're close enough; you can turn around and drive down.
Actually, we should.
Pembroke Pines is too far for you?
Well, I'm an old guy, Charles. It's this is phenomenal, and the website.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I'll meet you halfway. I'll meet you in Jupiter.
In Jupiter, that sounds good. Well, you need to open a store there, right next to Scripps. It would be perfect. It is www.GRILLIT, GRILLITINC.com. GRILLITINC.com. That's the website. Real easy spelling. We had a listener call and wanted to have it spelled out. So it's GRILLITINC.com.
And actually, I've gotten a couple of emails here asking me for the symbol and the website, too. So there's definitely an interest, in the concept. And, it's not McDonald's yet, but it doesn't have to be either.
We're basically we're one of the front runner in in that arena, in the health arena, fast casual arena, and of course health demand. And the concept is fresh. It's really amazing, even with store base with an actual concept, a decent business plan to grow, and we have people can come in, feel the store, look at the store, they like, dislike, whatever, they love the food, taste the food. It's an actual concept where it has legs to grow. It's not something on a piece of paper. It was 3 years ago, but not anymore.
Sure.
So we're really very fortunate to be, like you had mentioned earlier, Charles. We fit in an awesome space right now. Very little players in the Latin Caribbean fusion arena, and we feel we're one of the pioneers in that, and we're looking forward to really bigger things. And we're excited with the situation we're at. Of course, hopefully our stockholder are excited as much as we are, and that's where we're at this time.
What does a franchise cost, Ghazi?
The franchise.
What does it take for somebody to get involved?
Okay, we have right now. It's basically a $25,000 franchise fee. Our concept is designed for traditional and non-traditional, basically for like a typical shopping center or in a food court, airports, and plazas, turnpike plazas. Basically, that's where it starts. We have an awesome team, as you are aware from my background in the franchise business.
Right.
We set up this concept very similar, very affordable, a lot better than anybody out there. Our restaurant, if it's a conversion, if you have a restaurant you want to convert to GRILLiT, it's going to cost you in the $150,000, $170,000 to $220,000. If it's a brand new store, it'll be a little bit more because the infrastructure is not there. So we have very structured franchise, plan, and of course it's controlled by many agencies. But we feel very, very good and strong about where we're at right now, and definitely we have a master franchise, which is our partner, where they develop a certain market, and we sold nine states at this time. We're looking for some more.
And so, do you do, or does your partner, do they offer any kind of financing, or this is what it takes to do it? When you have the money, come see us.
We at this time we don't have any finance plan in place, but we do work with company in New York, which is they do have finance ability. We're They can finance a franchise, but at this time, internally, we do not have. We're not big enough to really be.
And frankly, Ghazi, I'm not sure that that's as much of an issue. I mean, if you look at one of the seemingly what was one of the great concept restaurants and a phenomenal stock for a while was Boston Market. But Boston Market got into serious trouble because they financed, and it had to be more than dramatically downsized.
Oh yeah, and unequal.
I mean,
unequal.
it was a real debacle.
Yeah, unequal stores.
As you are aware,
a year or two.
Yeah. Plus, you're aware, like Boston markets have main and main freestanding building. Our traditional location sits between 1,400 to 1,800 square feet. We're 32 to 60 seats. Our return on investment very, very manageable. So the cost of the operating cost or the rental or of the space it fits in our financial model. So we're not paying $30,000-$40,000 a month rent for main and main,
right.
which is not going to generate any money anyway.
Right.
So that's
you
that's
get
where,
back into the revenue per square foot all of a sudden instead of having the overhead be so dramatic.
Exactly, and our rent structure, and we help our franchise to select the site. We help them with the landlord, work on letter of intent. So we're very, very sensitive. And being a franchisee myself, so I know the process very well, and I understand bottom line, and I have an engineering background. So beside all that, I study electrical and electronic engineer at the University of Michigan, but never practiced a day in my life. So the food was my life. So the numbers are not strange to me. So we understand how, when we do deal with landlord, we understand numbers. We know where we have a range. We know where we want to be.
Wow, that sounds great, Ghazi.
Yep.
Again, the phone number in Miami is 305-716-4195. It is www.GRILLIT, GRILLITINC, GRILLITinc.com. And it's GRLT on the OTC. Ghazi, hey, best of luck. Don't be a stranger. We want to hear some updates from you. It sounds like you've got an amazing concept here.
I really appreciate your time. Thanks for putting me on the air. We're excited where we're at. Hopefully, in 3 or 4 months, I come back and tell you where we give you an update.
Sounds good, because we'd like that fourth quarter report from you guys. That sounds great. All right. Thanks, Ghazi, and good luck to all of you at GRILLiT. And Charles, Michael, we got to run, but great job, Charles. A good get in GRILLiT. And hopefully we'll be seeing him around the country soon. So, what a concept. Marvelous. And don't forget, PrincetonResearch.com is where you'll be able to hear this on demand at any time. And, of course, on WPSL and WPSLTV.com as well. Have a great day, everyone. We'll be back next Tuesday right here on WPSL. WPSL, Port St. Lucie.